When we first hear of the Soul Society, Rukia implies it's somewhat of a paradise where souls can live very long lives without fear of aging or hunger. When I first heard this, I immediately equated it with some sort of heaven. When we learned of Soul Society's supposed ruler, it was very easy to equate him with being an all-powerful god, and the Soul Reapers who revered and protected him as his angelic task force. If Soul Society truly works for the god who holds everything together, then they themselves must be inherently good, right? As I watched the beginning of the Soul Society rescue mission, I thought to myself, Ichigo needs to make peace with himself and his mom's death, and he'll do it in Bleach's version of heaven. Soul Society had what Ichigo needed, I was sure of it. Until we get there and we quickly discover that the Soul Society, embodying the soul of feudal Japan, wasn't quite the Holy Land I initially thought it was, nor the paradise Rukia described. Aside from the aforementioned lack of hunger and slowed aging, it was honestly pretty equitable to the real world. As Ichigo went further and further into Soul Reaper HQ, it became more and more apparent that what Rukia led us to believe about the Soul Society was nothing more than an illusion that was completely shattered with the introduction of Aizen. The real Aizen. Aizen was a manipulator, masterfully weaving his way through the Soul Society's flaws to reach exactly what he wanted. Captains were given far too much individual power and leeway over their subordinates. Aizen took advantage. The Soul Society had an extremely elitist power structure that oppressed differing ideals. Aizen took advantage. The Goldsei 13 followed the orders of Central 46 unquestioningly, as though they were God himself. Aizen took advantage. By betraying the Soul Society, Aizen changed the narrative by shattering any remaining notion we might have had that the Soul Society was anything approaching paradise. And it subtly plants in our minds the idea that there's something ominous about the Soul King, about the god that held the world together. If he were truly someone to be revered, then surely he'd do something about this flawed state of affairs, right? So when we learn the truth about the Soul King, that he was actually a prisoner, and that the Goldsei 13 were originally nothing more than a mob of killers, it didn't surprise me much. The Goldsei 13 were designed to enforce their brand of peace and wanted to make sense of the senseless by any means necessary. Bleach is the story of Ichigo trying to make sense of his world. The antagonists he fights are symbolic of that struggle, as they all have abilities that warp one's understanding and perceptions of reality. Aizen can take over all of one's senses, Ginjo, through Tsukishima, can change the past, and Yuha Bak rules over fate itself. All of them had gripes with the way Soul Society handled things, from the crimes of the Serete elite to the Soul Reaper's original sin of imprisoning the Soul King. The Soul Society's many systemic issues resulting in the creation of those who fought against them. All of Ichigo's antagonists were trying to reconcile the way the world was with the way they believed it should be, and became villains when they couldn't. Yuha Bak and Aizen are certainly straight up evil, with Ginjo being a very dark gray at best, but the Soul Society was no more just. Corruption at every level that couldn't be seen in its entirety until we witnessed Aizen's betrayal bring it all onto the surface. In a single scene, he revealed every flaw the Soul Society had. They weren't righteous defenders chosen by the heavens or anything like that. They were simply able to lord over all other beings because they were stronger than anyone else. Ichigo, just like his antagonists, once had a gripe with the way Soul Society did things, and at one point fought against them. The difference between them is that where Ichigo found solace in friends and family, and because of this was able to slowly incite change in Soul Society, his enemies could find no such comfort. Especially Aizen, who after being defeated, goes on one last tirade against Urahara, Soul Society, and the Soul King itself. And he isn't entirely wrong. Aizen believed he could do a better job of governing the world than God himself. And honestly, his betrayal proves he just might be right. It certainly wouldn't be a just world, but it just might be better than Bleach's status quo. But I'm just one guy. Maybe I'm wrong. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys next time.